Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. It's Wednesday, February 15th. We had a great day yesterday, so let's follow it up with another great day today. First, a quick look at the macro. QQQ SPY slightly down. Before I even get into the charts and the details, like for me, as long as we're above those key moving average, and I know that we are, even without looking at the chart because we're way above them, the 50-week moving average here, 400 or so on SPY, to me, I'm still fully invested. I'm picking my stocks. I'm not worried. Okay. So all engines go for right now. But a couple strange things this morning. First of all, we had retail sales data come out very strong, 3% versus 2%. So that's very strong retail sales coming out. And you can see potentially in reaction here, although UUP was already up, but you can see interest rate, US dollar is stronger, which means higher interest rates. Okay. You can see TLT, bonds down, rates up. That's usually bad for stocks, usually bad for risk assets. But look at this. ARKK is up this morning, maybe because of Tesla. Bitcoin, risk asset, up this morning. Okay, QQQ and SPY, I don't think I saw much of a reaction yet. So there's been a lot of confusing moves in the stock market last couple of days, especially the correlations to the bond market and the stock market really not making a lot of sense necessarily. But as long as we're over those key moving averages, I'm stock picking and I'm doing it, basically 100% invested. So that's my approach. All right, let's go into the specifics. Man, we nailed a bunch of stuff yesterday, including GFS and SKYT and BITO. Really, really great calls. Those are like our top 3 picks for the day, and they all did great. And then Tesla. So Tesla, if you remember, I forgot what the catalyst or the trigger was. I think it was just technicals that, I had trimmed on this day right here at the peak, around 210, 211, and it went below 200. I did note in the room when we're over 200, I'm like, hey, maybe that target of 225 is back in play, that we're over 200. But the real game-changing moment came yesterday when I posted this note about Ford, that their pickup truck, they're having some issues here. Let's look it up and we can look at it with a battery. So Ford, let's go down here. Halts output of electric lightning pickup due to battery issues. So I posted this in the room, and Julian, thank you for picking up the slack for me. And his sentiment, man, this is good for Tesla. So I'm like, damn it, Julian, you're right. So I jumped on it right away. The stock was like a 201, 202 at the time, and you can see just rocketed up the rest of the day. And I'd put a 210 price target. I said, maybe we can hit 210 by tomorrow. We hit 210 in after hours. That was crazy. Or right at the close. It was in after hours. Then the next resistance, 214, which we hit in pre-market and pulled back like to the penny. Okay, 214 is a high right here, 214. So if we break 214, I think it's basically inevitable. You tag the 200 DMA there, currently at like 224.80, something like that. Okay, so 214 then 225-ish is going to be your next targets on Tesla. So great teamwork. Thank you, Julian, yesterday for that negative catalyst for Ford as a positive sentiment indicator for Tesla. And that allowed us to time markets, which is what we do at Story Trading, right? We believe markets are efficient. All price action makes sense. So if you interpret a catalyst in the right way and interpret what impact will that catalyst have on sentiment and fundamentals, then you can anticipate and front run the technical traders, right? Anticipate either a technical breakout or a technical breakdown. That's what we do here every day at Story Trading. So Tesla worked out really well yesterday. Now I think I'm going to look for some follow through on GFS and SKYT. GFS closed really strong yesterday, and I just want to note there's another sentiment factor that I've seen no one talk about, and I may be wrong about this, but Warren Buffett sold like 86% of his stake in TSM. Something like that, big stake. And you see a TSM is down huge. Now, why would he just hold TSM for 1 quarter and get, I think it said his gain was like less than 10%. That doesn't seem very Warren Buffett-like. So I'm thinking it's not really fundamental related. Something changed. What would have changed so fast? Maybe it's geopolitical. Maybe it's what's going on with China and Taiwan. And he said, you know what? I don't know. This is total speculation, guys. But, maybe it's better to be invested in the U.S. And we know there's lots of tailwinds for that anyway. about bringing semiconductor manufacturing to the States. So perhaps you get an additional tailwind today on GFS and SKYT, both of which are semiconductor fabs, which in the US, which had great earnings yesterday. GFS also had like 10 upgrades this morning with price targets all the way up to $90. Average analysts like increase it by $10 or $15 or so. I put all the price targets in there. So GFS, I'm looking for additional upside up to the 200. Really the all-time high here, $79.49 is what I'm looking for as a swing play in GFS. And I'm looking for a second additional day of momentum in the stock today. SkyT as well. SkyT, kind of similar situation, same industry, great earnings. Man, the conference call was great. Go look at the transcript. Really, really positive. Looking at this chart here, I think as a swing, we can maybe make a move to the $16 to $18 levels on SkyT and looking for additional movement today. And if you don't get it today, I think you get it soon. So maybe you can get some pullbacks for purchases. Okay. We got, sorry, I'm just looking at some data coming in on my other screen, but which I may get to in a second. Okay. Sting has earnings tomorrow morning, right? Yes. Tomorrow morning, I think we're going to see event anticipation run right through the end of the day on STNG. Matt put out some data. By the way, it's like 52-week high. People are really excited, right? So I think that the stage is set. But Matt also said one of their competitors here, ASC, okay, yesterday, you can see how they performed after earnings, and one of the analysts out here increased the price target to the expected NAV by year end on ASC, like a $20 price target. The NAV on Sting is like $80 or something. So we could see like price target increases on Sting to like $80, $85, $90, something like that tomorrow. Okay. We learned our lesson. I'm not doing call options anymore on earnings, man. I've gotten burned so many times playing call options, but I'm going to keep some common shares into the report tomorrow. But a good place to sell some would be into the run. Definitely, probably, maybe an idea is to sell half or something right into the afternoon, 3:30, 4 p.m., something like that. Looks like we're going to run into the close today on STNG. I'm looking for like 64, but that might take the earnings report tomorrow to do it. And that'll be just your first target, but we'll see what the earnings show. All right, big news on YEXT, YEXT. This might be, by the way, like the big play. These four are my focus picks, and then GNS for today. Okay, so it's GFS, SkyT, Sting, YEXT, a little bit of GNS we'll talk about. Okay, but in any case, YEXT has AI news, integrating ChatGPT. Basically, they're trying to make something better than ChatGPT, it looks like. So if you go look at this press release, and there's also a nice little website here, yext.com/chat-beta. Now, this is for enterprise, but they basically took a little bit at ChatGPT, saying, hey, accuracy is only as good as the data sets you go into, and we have all these great data sets. Yeah, we're using GPT, but we're using all these other data sets as part of our knowledge graph to give better answers and better results, things like that. So this is, and what I really like about this is it bounced off the 20 DMA yesterday. Okay, so right here, you can see it bounced off the 20 DMA yesterday. So I think this thing is going to run today. Maybe we challenge like $8 again, something like that. So I put a big bid in at $7.30. I got a partial fill. So we'll see if I can get some good prices on this. I would love to do that, get in at like 7:30. We can get an exit in the high sevens towards 8. I think that's all possibly in play today for YEXT. So far, that's the only move I've made this morning besides selling my Generac, which we'll just get to in 1 second as well. GNS, okay, don't forget, today after the close, we have the YouTube stream by the CEO giving updates on their mission or their current drive to expose the naked shorts and things like that. Okay, so this one, my game plan is to sell this into the event. Sometimes the best time to sell into an event like this is within the first 30 to 60 seconds of the event. I've done this for a long time, and that's my experience, is that's the best time to sell. I do think a lot of this is very gimmicky. We've seen this in the past with people exposing naked short sellers, and most of the time it leads nowhere, and it's just to gain attention. Now, this CEO is great at gaining attention and doing the marketing. There's some interesting things going on with canceling the ATM, but maybe we'll listen to it and have an open mind in terms of what they say on the YouTube stream. But I think the playbook is to sell most, if not all, right up into the event, and then potentially, we can consider it afterwards. But this is just a gimmicky play to me, and the exit is going to be today at the event. All right. Generac had earnings, and I was not impressed. The headlines say they beat on by a couple cents. Here it is. 178 beats 176, but sales missed slightly. I really didn't love the guidance. The guidance is basically in line on revenue. They're not showing the headlines. I had to look up what the analyst expectations were and read through the press release myself. But the guidance is basically in line for revenue, and you had to calculate what the EPS would be based on some of the metrics. So I did that calculation, and it looks like it's lower than analyst expectations for 2023. Now, I may be wrong in that math, but they're still not dealing with what caused the stock price to dive over here. You see that big gap down, right? The revenue went down because one of their top resellers, they went bankrupt, and they're still looking at year-over-year decline in growth. 2023 is going to have less revenue, like 6 to 10 or 8 to 10% less than 2022. I don't know. I'm sorry, but there's so many stocks to invest in right now that have year-over-year growth. Okay, so to me, this earnings report was a little bit disappointing. Now, the technicals, as I mentioned, was great going into this, and it's up. I think that's a gift. I mean, they just want to send this, I guess. 133 would be resistance if it goes, but I'm inclined to say just get the hell out right away. It's a gift to be able to sell here, and there's other stocks that are in good shape. If this stock goes up, and if it breaks 133 on this earnings report, man, the stock market's really bullish. Right, it's basically saying bid everything up, and who knows? Maybe we're in that moment. But for me, better stocks out there right now that have year-over-year growth. We had TPCS earnings yesterday. Now, if you want to know all about it, you can jump into the TPCS research group, and hopefully, we're going to start moving a lot of that conversation into our app very shortly. Lots of interesting, good updates coming up with our app recently. But in any case, TPCS, it seems like, I haven't looked at it myself too closely, but seems like the consensus is, hey, it was a good quarter, but not a great quarter. I saw someone disappointed in the backlog number, didn't increase or wasn't as large as they wanted. Now, regarding the uplisting, there was some comments. See, I don't even have a news feed here. This is from August 22nd. But there was some comment in the press release that they have approved a reverse split, and all of that has now been sent to the SEC. So application together with the reverse split proposal in order to be uplisted, and they're just waiting for the SEC to approve it. So some people were hoping that we'd hear that announcement yesterday or today that the SEC approved it, and they're going to get the reverse split and uplisting. So that catalyst not happening today. It may take some while longer for that to happen. So I would not be surprised to see a sell-off for people who are buying in anticipation of that event. Okay, so that's the story with TPCS. All right, there's some other small news items. We'll just go through them until Vegas shows up. CTLP, new product release. It's called the 46. So I don't think it was such a game-changing catalyst, but let's combine it with technicals to see if that could trigger something. So that catalyst here, we're right at the 20-day moving average, kind of indecisive area. The 50-day moving average is right there at 494. I'm not too impressed. I think there's other better plays, some of the ones we covered. I talked about the earnings, and to me, this is kind of like a fairly valued stock right here at this point after that earnings release. So nothing really for me interesting in CTLP for today. UUUU close a sale, complete sale of Alta Mesa for $120 million. I put because there's a lot of information. Why is this going? There's a lot of information in this article about how they're using that money and details about their uranium assets. So lots and lots of information. And they're saying they can avoid dilutive financing with this $120 million. So I'm not an expert in this area. You can take a look at it. While I hit back 10 million times to get back in there. So I get that one's not something necessarily going to be interested in today either. BITO, which we played really, really well yesterday, had at least one price target increase to $33. This one has a lot of chop. Look at the history. So even though the PE is like really low, this is not something that I expect as much follow through like GFS that I expect follow through on. GFS is like a real, like it's a business that's just going to grow indefinitely, right? Whereas BTO is based on the call price, which can go up and down, and that's reflected in the chart that goes up and down and has a lot of chop, right? So this one, even though we got that price targeting increase to 33, I really don't know what direction it's going to go in today. But if it moves back down and you get that chop, you can find these key moving averages, or we can find other support levels to play this. This is a good trading stock, a great stock to sell puts on because of the high premiums on those puts. Okay, gonna mention talk because there's been high volume. This is one of my top positions. Yesterday, big volume. It's still moving up this morning. So the target is 113. Earnings are next Tuesday, I believe. So let's look out for that. And hopefully we can get a big move if we get further validation of what was said at JP Morgan. Microsoft, American Airlines pulling back a little bit. CETX, I listened to the conference call actually, well, parts of it, and I was a little bit impressed. They're not as a scammy company as they used to be. All right, now they have a big debt issue, which is why the valuation is so cheap. It's $8 million market cap while they're doing, let's see quickly here. What was their revenue? They're doing much more than that in revenue. Here it is, 12 million a quarter. So 48 million a year in revenue and 8 million market cap. Right away, there's a debt issue. So I looked into it. And in fact, if you listen to Q&A, they have like 14 million in debt coming due. Some of that in March next month, some of it in May. And the analyst was like, hey, you're making great progress in your business. Congratulations. But you got this debt coming due. What are you going to do? And they said, well, we think we're going to be able to renegotiate that with our lenders and extend it out. But that remains to be seen. And that's why the stock is so cheap. So if this is a stock you're following, that's really what you want to look at. A press release, if it comes, of them renegotiating that debt and extending the maturity, that's what could cause the stock to do a rapid re-rating, CETX. Okay. And I think that's all I have. Let me see. All right, I'm going to just cover one other one. IDCC is a new name that someone put on my radar a few weeks ago, so I put it on my watch list. I don't know much about it. I see a little conversation happening in the VIP research room after I posted it, but they did have earnings which look great. 108 beats 73 cents. Sales 117 beats 109. So that looks like something that could move the stock today, but I don't really know it well enough. Wow, look at this chart. So take a look at the conversation in the VIP research room on IDCC. Maybe something there, and we'll take a look at the newsfeed one last time. Oh yeah, SABR. So sorry about that, Tony. We'll talk to Tony in a second. But SABR had earnings. Oh wow, ARTW. We got to look at ARTW in a second. All right, okay. So SABR missed on earnings. Okay, SABR missed on earnings, and the stock is down. Let's take a look at this. So I don't know if Tony sees something in there which says, "Hey, buy it at 605, 606." I don't know, but I don't have a position, but we'll see what Tony has to say on that in our VIP chat room. Let's just take a look at ARTW. Arts Ways Manufacturing has a 10-year high agricultural product sales and 1.2 million operating income. Really? Whoa! Wow. This may be interesting today. We got a market cap of $12.5 million. This looks like a full earnings report here. So I'm going to take a look at this guy here after I hang up with you. Take a little bit of research, but ARTW, I'm writing this down. If the numbers look good, this could be a mover today. And it's 9:19. I think we got to say goodbye. I don't see Vegas here, so we'll catch her tomorrow because we got to get going, guys. So everyone have a great day. We'll catch Vegas tomorrow.